Coming up, it's episode 118, and we're going fast with drag racer Brittany Force. One of three daughters of Hall of Famer John Force, she shares about growing up around the sport and what got her into it as well. She also tells us some of her big moments, being in the winner's circle with her dad, being on a reality show with her sisters and her dad as well, and also what the family is doing right now to raise funds and awareness for brain health. Our guest, episode 118 of In the Front Row, is drag racer Brittany Force. Brittany, thanks so much for spending a little time with us here today. Excited to hear your story and certainly what you're doing now. But with your story, it's got to be rooted in your dad's story as well. John Force, the Hall of Famer. At what age, I guess, did you realize what he did for a living?
I was a little kid, and for me, it was very normal for my sisters and I to, go on the road with my dad and my mom, and we'd follow my dad from racetrack to racetrack. It was summers. We'd pack a suitcase and it was a different city every single weekend. We're following dad, sit in the stands, watch my dad go down a racetrack. At the time, it was Castrol GTX was on his car. That's what I remember, his white cars with the red and green stripe down the side. And it was very normal to me. I had a great childhood. We were racetrack kids. We got to, go everywhere and see race cars. And those racetracks kind of became home, to my sisters and I. They felt like home. And then his crew guys and his competition, just the people out there, they became family. They felt his team felt like bigger brothers to us all. So it all felt so much like home being out on the road. But it wasn't until, I always had friends that said things like, what your dad does is absolutely crazy. And it was kind of like, no, it's, he's a race car driver. That's what that's what we were used to. But it was more when my family would go out to dinner, and in the middle of dinner, people would come up and ask for pictures or ask for autographs. And that's kind of when I noticed it's not happening just at the racetrack. That's very normal, but to be removed from the racetrack and we're out to dinner and then it would happen, that was when I kind of noticed it more.
Obviously, during that time, you had to see him at times have wrecks and crashes. What was that like as a little girl to see your father in that type of position? There
was never this fear that came with it because he always climbed out of the car every single time. He was kind of Superman in my eyes. And, I remember sitting on my parents' couch back at home, watching him Sunday race day, and his car just went up in a big ball of flames. And it was scary for a moment, but he'd climb out and he'd stand on the roof of his car and throw his hands up in there. I remember watching him wreck in Pomona when I was a little kid with my sisters and my mom in the stands, and he'd climb out and throw his hands up in the air for the crowd. So again, he was kind of Superman. And to me, I knew there were dangers in it, but again, he always did the impossible, always, no matter what. And what really wasn't until I kind of got behind the wheel that I really, really saw the danger aspect in it. As a kid, I guess I was kind of blinded by it. It was just, I was so in awe of it all. And even the wrecks, when he did wreck, the way he spoke about it, he would always say, that wreck was spectacular. It was, he always put it on such like this higher standard. The fans loved it. It was insane. Yeah, my car's ruined, but what a show I put on. So I kind of always saw it in that light. It was a little different. It wasn't until I got behind the wheel that it kind of struck me. It struck a different chord.
Yeah. Did you think when you were younger that you were going to be a race car driver and follow in his footsteps?
No, I never imagined that. I loved the sport of NHRA drag racing. I knew I would always be involved in it somehow, but I never thought I'd be behind the wheel. I just didn't. My favorite spot to sit at a racetrack is right at the 1,000 foot, because that's when the cars are accelerating the quickest and they're blowing past you at 330 miles per hour. Your whole body shakes, your ears are ringing, your eyes are burning. There's nothing like it. And they blow past you so fast, you can't even keep up. It's like, holy crap, how is somebody in that car? And so, no, I never saw myself getting behind the wheel. Again, it was such a male-dominated sport. It was men that did it. My eyes didn't really open to that idea. I was in the stands. I want to say it was probably Pomona or something. And a dragster pulled up to the starting line and there was a pink stripe across it. So my little sisters and I always would root on, okay, you got right lane, left lane, you got the red car, the yellow car. And we didn't even know who was in the car half the time, but we would always kind of compete that way. And I'm like, I'm doing the pink car. I'm voting on the pink car. And then my sister Ashley goes, do you know who's in that car? I'm like, nope, I just like it because it's pink. And I remember she told me there's a girl in that car, and it was Shelly Anderson, Shelly Payne. And in that moment, I became a Shelly fan. And I've remained friends with. I followed her since. My family's great friends with her family. We've stayed connected over the years, and that kind of was the first starting point that opened my eyes to, hold on, there's a female in that car doing exactly what my dad does. Like, it was men that I always saw competing and being successful and racing these cars. And it wasn't until I saw her, and then years later, when my older sister Ashley got behind the wheel, and that's where I thought, oh, she's getting into a super comp dragster. Well, I'm her younger sister. I want to do everything she's doing. I want to follow in her footsteps. So followed right behind her. My dad, obviously, we're all following in his footsteps as well. But it was watching, seeing those females that kind of opened my eyes. And that's where I thought, I'm definitely interested. I'll want to step in and give it a try. I don't know if that's the road I'm going to go down, but was definitely piqued my interest.
You saw these ladies that were driving, and then your sisters as well. It was all the sisters. You're the middle sister of the three. Did it become competitive amongst yourselves as the female drivers that were kind of setting these records and setting these marks?
No, my sisters and I never really got competitive with each other. Again, it was more of a support. We had each other's back. We wanted to see each other do well and excel in the sport, and always rooting them on. It was never a competition. We never against each other was it a competition. And it was more of a support system. We had each other's backs regardless.
How did the male drivers react to you guys? Again, you had that Force name, but how did they react to you guys having the success that you guys did?
Honestly, when I came into the sport, so 2013 was my rookie season in a top field dragster. When I came into the sport, I never felt a pushback or anything from, other people in the industry, from other competition. I never felt that way. And I think a lot of it has to do with, I grew up in the sport. So a lot of these people that I competed against, I remember sitting in the stands watching them as a kid. I remember, my dad having meetings with, I grew up around the sport so much that everyone kind of felt like family in a sense. We're all out there driving these cars, doing what we love to do. At the end of the day, you want to win, but you want to be safe, and we're all just family. So I never felt like a pushback or anything. It was more, honestly, when I came into the sport, it was a lot of support. A lot of competition came up to me and said, hey, we're excited you're here. This is, we're really excited to, follow you through your career. And we're glad that you, got in and followed in your dad's footsteps. And if you ever need any advice, if there's anything I could do, my door's open. So that was awesome to have a support system like that.
And then you start to do things that, no women's driver had done before, to win the National Hot Rod Association 4-wide nationals in 2016. As you're doing these things, what's going through your mind and again, what you're able to do and set the bar high, I guess, for female drivers?
I'm really proud of everything, my team and I have accomplished over the years. We've done a lot. We've won races. We've won 2 championships. And now we've been setting records this year. That's been our big thing, setting mile per hour track records. And we hold the ET record. So we've done a lot. And one of the biggest things being a role model in the sport has been very important to me. It's something I carry with such high, it's something that's very important to me. It always has been. There's so many eyes on me, especially out at the racetrack. And a lot of them are younger girls. I have little girls that come up to me at the ropes and they tell me they want to be a race car driver because of me. And that is a win in itself. There's nothing more heartwarming than a little girl telling you something like that. So it's something I've always, been aware of and made sure I always try to maintain a positive, role model. That's always been something that's been very important to me to be a role model for these younger kids, this younger generation.
Take us through a race. I mean, as you said, you set records. Fastest record, 343 miles an hour. What is it like to go that fast? And how quick does it go?
I know. I mean, it's 300. Well, now we're doing 340 plus miles per hour. It's less than 4 seconds. It's 11,000 horsepower. I'm pulling 6 to 7 Gs within the first 2 seconds and then negative Gs, at the finish line. So there's a lot going on. And when you watch it, it just, like I said, they fly by. But when you're in the car, they're not as violent. It definitely slows down. It feels fast, but slow at the same time. I don't know how to explain it because I could come back from a run and talk to my crew chief about, hey, there was a dip or there was, something in that right lane at about 60 feet. And then this vibration came into the car about 600 feet. And then it cleared up before the finish line. And to have all that going on in your head within 4 seconds, it tells you it does slow down or your mind catches up to it or something. I don't know.
So what kind of training goes into 4 seconds and going, 300 plus miles an hour? What are you doing to train to make sure that you're controlling the car during that race?
For me, I put in as much work as I can away from the racetrack. I need that extra edge. I've always struggled with reaction time compared to, compare myself to other competition. So for me, I feel like I drive my best when I'm working out, when I'm eating right, and I'm dedicating my time at home to the sport, to driving. For me, it's I try to work out 4 times a week, and I focus on lower body explosive movements. So it's that quick for reaction is what it, or quick stepping on the throttle pedal. So that lower body is to build, leg strength, quickness, all for stepping on a throttle pedal. I also work with a martial arts guy, martial arts trainer, and we do eye-hand coordination drills. I carry those out to the racetrack with me. My team will sometimes work with me, and I'll use them as a partner just to do practice drills when we're out there qualifying and on race day. And then I also do yoga. Yoga is kind of one of my favorite things. I've done it for years. It's my escape, but it also kind of trains you to kind of calm your mind down and focus on what you need to, which I carry that into the race car, because if you have an overactive mind and you're thinking too much, you're screwed. You have to be reacting. You can't be thinking about what you're doing when you're driving these cars. It has to be strictly reacting. And that yoga's kind of taught me that, to kind of quiet my mind and focus on the job that needs to be done.
Have you had any big crashes like your dad?
I have. I've had a few mishaps. I lost a steering wheel at like 900 feet. I had a tire explode at like 700 feet. Luckily, the car was going straight. I got it shut off and I kept it in my lane. I was lucky there. In 2018, I had a pretty bad wreck. We just won the championship the season before in Pomona. So we left on such a high, and I came onto this racetrack. We just put a number 1 sticker on our car, started the season. It was the first race of the year, first round, and I freaking wrecked the thing, crashed it. I overdrove it was what it was. The car got in trouble, smoked the tires. I, got out of the throttle pedal, stepped on it too quickly, tried to overdrive the car, and it got in trouble. And at that point, there's no saving it. You just hang on for dear life. And I don't remember the wreck. It knocked me out. I have no memory of it, but I've studied the videos. I've studied the footage to learn, what I did wrong. But I climbed out. I got out of the car. I was in the hospital for a few days. I think I had 2 weeks to fully heal before we went to Phoenix. And that was one of the toughest things, was climbing back in that car after that wreck. I mean, mentally, it was one of the biggest challenges ever in my career. But I told myself, just get in the car. You can't let one moment, one negative run, define, my whole career and all the positive I've had in it. So got back in the car, suited up, just went through all my motions like I normally did to make me feel comfortable. And I was still beat up, black and blue on the one side, but got in the car so nervous, the most nervous I've probably ever been, and made a run. And then I was good after that first run. I'm like, okay, we're back. So yeah, that was 2018 in Pomona. It was a pretty awful wreck, but it taught me, I learned so much of it. It taught me, mostly about my mental strength and conquering that.
Yeah. Is that a moment that you leaned on your dad to kind of see how he got through tough times like that and the fears that creep into your mind?
100%. And I'll never forget, his answer was, get back in the car as soon as you can. And I'm like, I already knew that. Like, I already knew that for me and my personality. And I know myself, if I were to wait and sit on it and think about it for weeks and weeks, it'd be so much harder for me to climb back in the car. So for me, it was the quickest I could get back in that car, I will do that. And that's exactly what he said.
So many highlights, as you said, a championship 2017, 2022 as well. And then the records. What moment sticks out in your mind, maybe more than others?
Looking back on throughout my career, one that does stand out that Many people don't even know about it. It was actually, we were testing in West Palm Beach before the season started. I want to say it was 20, maybe before my rookie season. It was early on. And we were just out there testing. Well, the racetrack decided to, invite fans out, kind of turn it into a special show while we're just testing runs for the season. And as part of the event, they lined my dad and I up next to each other. So I'll never forget. It was West Palm Beach, Florida. I was in the left lane. My dad was in the right lane. I remember doing a burnout. So I'm in a dragster. He's in his funny car. I remember doing a burnout and then just looking over into the right lane, and I saw his Castrol GTX car. And it was such a surreal moment for me. I'd always watched his car from TV, from sitting in the stands, from watching in the tow car as a kid. And now to see him in the lane next to me, it was like, wow, this is a really cool moment. This is something I'll never forget. And then it was like, okay, get back in your lane. You need to focus on driving your car. Back the car up and, pulled it forward, staged the car. The tree came down. I didn't even make it past the Christmas tree. This thing went up in smoke so quickly. He freaking hauled butt all the way down there, turned the wind light on. And to me, that was such a big moment in my career, just because he's the one that gave me this opportunity. He's the one that opened the door for me and taught me everything in the sport. And so to be able to line up next to him, funny car versus a dragster, was pretty outstanding. And then there's obviously like the championship. Yes, those wins, those are all always stand out, but that was something really special and different.
Did he talk a little trash after that?
Oh, I'm sure he did. Actually, I think he felt bad. I didn't even have a chance.
How about August 15th, 2021 in Topeka, Kansas? I know that is kind of a race and a moment. Tell our viewers about that for you.
Yeah, so that year, I'd finally doubled up with my dad. My sister and I had tried to do it. It is so hard just to win an event in zone. And now to try to line it up with your teammate, it's impossible. At that point, I had stopped chasing it because I'm like, there's no way it's going to happen. How do you line this up? You can't. You just get lucky. And that weekend in Topeka, Kansas, my dad and I both ended up in the winner's circle. So to be able to stand at the top end, both holding trophies, share the winner's circle together, that was another really special moment.
Yeah, the only father-daughter to ever do that, and certainly had to be an amazing moment to have that. And again, for you, such a record breaker. You got Shirley Muldowney, who's the first lady of drag racing as well. Is she somebody, you mentioned some other ladies, but is she somebody that you had looked up to? And some of the stuff that you have that, you only the two of you have done those.
When I look back, I mean, it goes back to as early as I could remember. It was Shirley. I'm sorry, not Shirley. Shirley was kind of before my time.
Right.
So it was Shelly Anderson. She was one that I looked up to. And then it was my sister, Ashley. And then it was Courtney. That's what I remember. That story I told you about, Shelly Anderson, that was my first memory of seeing a female out there.
How about you guys in the family? You all competitive outside of racing? Is there other stuff that you guys? I mean, again, you had a reality show, so we saw some stuff there.
Yeah, I think it's in our nature. We are competitive. We've always been that way. My sisters and I are off the racetrack, whatever it is. There is always some kind of competition. If we have family dinners, we're talking about racing. That is all we talk about is racing. And now that my sister years ago married Graham Rahal, so now we have IndyCar in the mix. That's a competition on its own, IndyCar versus drag racing, but it's all lighthearted. It's all in fun.
Do you have it during your time? Do you have a favorite track or a favorite city to compete in?
I have a handful of favorite tracks. My home track, obviously Pomona. It's right out my back door. It's a track that I grew up at. It has a nostalgic feel to it. I love that racetrack. And then Vegas is another one. I tried to get a win there for so many years, finally did it. And now Vegas is our lucky track. We've won there multiple times. We've done so well, but I raced there in Super Comp. I raced there in A Fuel and then in Top Fuel. So that was always a special one to me. But one of my favorite tracks besides those two is Bristol, Tennessee, because it's Thunder Valley. A racetrack goes right through the valley, and there is absolutely nothing like it. It's a beautiful facility. It's a Bruton Smith track, and one of my favorites.
Are there differences in the tracks, how they run and how it affects the cars?
Oh, 100%. Every racetrack is different. So we always pull from, previous years when we're at that racetrack, but every racetrack, every weather condition, time of year, whatever it is, it's no racetrack is the same. Even if you're back on the same racetrack, it's not the same as it was the year before.
Again, it seems like you're still relatively young in the sport, just joining it in 2013, and you've accomplished so much. What's ahead for you? What do you, still hope to do? Your dad, has been racing for like over 70 years. So is that kind of a goal that you have?
No, so I actually just made the announcement back in Reading. So the first race of our countdown a few months ago. At the end of the season, I'm actually going to step out. My husband and I got married last year, so we're going to try to start a family. I wish I could do both at the same time, but I can't. Men are so lucky in the sport, in motorsports, that they could continue driving and can, also start a family. I don't have that luxury, so I've made the decision. It's been a bittersweet one. It's difficult, but this year I just know that this has been the season. It's been in the back of my mind for a little while now. My team's been in on it. My crew chiefs have known about it. And when I came into this season, I knew that this would be the year. I'm going to step out. We have 2 races left. We're hoping to end strong, but I'm not closing the door to driving in the future. That's a decision for further down the road once I get there.
Yeah, I was going to say, things change. Your life changes once you have a family involved as well. Will that be something that you consider and think about?
Yeah, that's what that's my main plan. That's the reason why I am stepping out, is we'd like to try to start a family. I've watched, both my sisters, all my sisters, they have kids. So I'm surrounded by my nieces and nephews, and I love spending time with them. I wish I could get more time with them. I have so much fun, but that's what kind of opened my eyes to, I was so focused so long on just my career. That's all I wanted. When I came into the sport, I knew in the back of my mind, being a female, that's something I might have to think about one day. But back in 2013, beginning of my season, up until most recently, I was career focused. That's where my focus was. I wasn't there yet. And now I'm in a place where, we just got married and we think we want to start a family. I don't know what's down the road for us, but I'm going to step out. We're going to keep my team together under the John Force Racing umbrella. There'll be a new driver in the seat next season, so we're going to keep them together. I want to see them continue on and be successful. I'll be their biggest cheerleader. But yeah, it was definitely a difficult decision, but I'm ready for it. And again, I'm not closing the door to driving in the future.
We had Mario Andretti on previously, and we asked him, is racing a sport? You call it a sport plenty during this interview. What's your thoughts when somebody says, it's not a sport?
I don't know how it's not a sport. I think it is a sport. Yes, it's different. It doesn't have that physical aspect to it. It is different, but I train for it physically, mentally. I do all of it. It's driving these cars are not easy. If it was, we'd be winning every single weekend. And our last win was Epping in the beginning of the season. So like I said, we're hoping to end strong. We have 2 left, but yes, I would say 100%. It is a sport. There's a lot that goes on. Again, pulling 6 to 7 G's, negative G's when I throw the chutes, it's a lot on your body. There's a lot more that goes into the driving than I guess people realize. It looks like you just step on the gas pedal, but you have to listen to the car. You have to feel the car. You have to keep it in the groove. If it chatters, if it does something wrong, you have to react. You have to pedal it if it goes up in smoke, and you hope to get it to the finish line first. And then before the race even begins, the reaction time comes into it. So there's so much that goes into it. It's a lot. It's definitely, it's not easy, or we'd be winning every single weekend.
Again, your dad, built this empire, John Force Racing. Do you guys, the ladies, the daughters, do you feel the pressure of kind of continuing this on and making sure that name and, what he built continues to last beyond him, beyond you guys maybe as well?
Of course, I've always wanted to make, my dad proud. He's the one that gave me this opportunity, but I also, want to make my team proud. Our sponsors, John Force Racing, and myself. I go out there every single weekend with a new goal in mind, that I want to be better than I was last weekend, or I made a mistake here. Let's try to fix that and come out on top this next weekend. So I'm always pushing myself to improve and be better. But as for, nobody's ever going to fill my dad's shoes. He's won 16 championships. What he's done in the sport is just unimaginable. And for me, I never saw it as this extra pressure. It was more, I'm lucky that I have him in my corner. I'm lucky that he is my biggest supporter out there, and I could go to him whenever I need help. And, we've gone back and forth helping each other, but I have, the greatest teacher out there to help me.
And I know he's on the mend right now. Big crash from June of 2024. How is he doing? And is he still around, you guys?
Yeah, he's doing great. He's pretty much made a full recovery. It's incredible. The doctors, I mean, so many of them were blown away by the progress he made while we were in the hospital. And it's kind of a cool story. So when he did wreck in Richmond, we were out there in Richmond at the hospital for 3 weeks, almost a month. And then we moved him to start physical therapy. We're in Phoenix. And then he finally came back home where he did outpatient therapy. So he hit the physical therapy really hard, stayed motivated, stayed dedicated to it. And like I said, pretty much made a full recovery. He didn't get back to the racetrack until end of last season. It was Las Vegas. And I had gone almost 2 seasons without winning. It was 2 seasons to the race. My last win was Las Vegas 2 years before. And it was his first race back. And it was, if this wasn't something from above, if this wasn't like, it just, sometimes things are meant to happen as they should. I mean, it was that moment. It was his first race back after his wreck in Las Vegas last year. It was my first win. I won the event, doubled up with my teammate, Austin Prock, and we got him to the winner's circle with both our cars. So it was pretty awesome to be able to do that for him with him there. He's been out to the races every weekend with us. He's where he should be with his teams.
Is he done racing?
That's not for me to answer. That is up to him. But like I said, since last season, he's been out to he's missed a couple this year, but I mean, he's pretty much with our teams every weekend.
I think partly maybe because of his crash, his injury, you guys are raising money for brain health. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what you do, what John Force Racing does to try to help that?
Yeah, so that came into the picture. We teamed up with GRP, Graham Rahal Performance. We ran their car in Las Vegas to begin this year. And then we also came up with Graham. It was actually Graham's idea with everything that's gone on with my dad, to raise money for, brain, really to bring awareness to, traumatic brain injuries focused in the military. So we've been trying to raise money to put towards, they're based out of, we were just racing in Dallas last weekend. Their hospital out there, we had all their people come out and hang out for the weekend. And it's just trying to raise awareness around it, put money together just to help research in traumatic brain injuries.
Do you see that you're making a difference? Are you getting some feedback from what you're doing?
So it's called Task Force Rahal. It's awesome. The really great thing is a lot of our sponsors have gotten involved in it. And, Cornwell Tools donated a beautiful custom-made toolbox, giant toolbox that, if you make some donations, your name goes into the pile and you could have a chance to win that. So it's great to see sponsors get involved. But yeah, Task Force Rahal, we're really excited about it. Again, it was very much Graham and my sisters all getting involved with just everything we dealt with in the last year. My dad with that traumatic brain injury, and we learned a lot about it. And, we wanted to get involved somehow. And we thought that would be a great place to, try to start this foundation, gain some, hopefully, momentum around it. And it's been pretty successful. We're very happy with it.
Yeah, you saw there in the website, John Force Racing, at the top, there is a link to make a donation and get involved there. Take us back to 2006, Driving Force, the reality TV show that was on A&E. How did this come about?
Oh, I don't know how it came. I honestly don't know how it began. It was on A&E. So yeah, it was 2006, 2007. And they wanted to follow my family around. It was my dad who has this crazy personality. He's such a character. And now all of his daughters were following in his footsteps driving. And they went on the road with us. It was not my favorite. I did not like, it's not just one camera in your face. I mean, you have a whole crew of 8 people following you everywhere. You go into the grocery store, there's 8 people. Now everybody's staring at you. And I don't like that type of attention. It wasn't my favorite, but it definitely opened doors, for us with sponsors and driving. It gave us a lot of, it opened a lot of opportunities for us. So we are thankful for that. But for me, it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, I'm sure it helped grow the sport a little bit, but I guess, as you're trying to compete or get ready, I guess you weren't at the time, but was it a distraction as well for some of you guys?
No, it was more in the reality aspect of it. You could take what you want and follow a family, but you have to build a story out of it. So sometimes they would build more of a negative narrative, wasn't the most accurate narrative. And that wasn't my favorite part about it.
So again, you're taking some time off, but this sport continues to grow. Where do you see this sport going?
I think the sport is just incredible. I mean, there's nothing like it. TV doesn't do it justice. If you go out to a racetrack and you watch these cars go down a drag strip, I mean, the ground shakes. You feel it in your chest. Your ears are ringing. Your eyes are. There's absolutely nothing like it. It is an extreme sport, and I'd love to get more eyes on the sport. I mean, doing podcasts like with you today, I hope it puts more eyes on our sport and helps grow it. But I think it's one of the greatest sports out there. There's absolutely nothing like NHRA drag racing.
Like you said, before you step away, you're trying to get some wins here. How can people follow you and root you on and hope that you get those wins?
Yeah, so we have 2 more events in our season. We head to Vegas in just, a few days. And then we end in Pomona, November 16th-ish, 14th to the 16th, somewhere right around there, at my home track, Pomona, California. But I'm on Instagram. It's Brittany Force, BrittanyForce. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
And again, you're not saying you're not coming back. So that being the case, will it be an emotional last couple of races, or are you able to kind of, put that aside here?
I definitely think making an announcement, months ago in Reading kind of helped it feel more real. Also having my team in on it, they've known about it, my crew chiefs, that's helped. And now being able to go to these racetracks, since I made the announcement, fans have come up to me and said, thank you for, 13 years of your career. I loved watching you. So I feel like I've been kind of saying goodbye until, the season comes down to an end, but it's coming up so quickly. I don't know where, the countdown has gone. It's like we're closing the season. It always flies by at this time. I don't know where I'll be mentally. It's going to be a tough one because it's something I love so much. But again, I can't do both. There's not space to do both in the sport. So it's a difficult decision, but one I'm ready for.
All right. Well, hopefully we get to see you again, win another championship, win another race coming up here, and then maybe come back to the sport when the time is right. And like you said, I guess you'll know when that time is if that time does come back around.
Yeah, we will see.
Well, Brittany, thanks so much for your time here today. It's great to hear your story, learn more about the sport as well, and certainly all the best to you and all the best to your family as well.
Thank you so much.
Well, our thanks to David Hart from John Force Racing for helping arrange that sit down, and certainly for Brittany for spending a little time with us. I wish her the best as she steps away to start a family here after a couple more races. We thank you as always for watching and listening, and invite you to like, subscribe, and to share our shows as we continue to grow our show and bring you great guests, all sports, not just basketball, baseball, football, racing, surfing, and beyond as well. For JR Equipment, our creator, producer, and director behind the scenes, I'm Mike Vaccaro. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Another episode of In the Front Row. Have a great day, everybody.